But because it no longer seems like we are talking the same language, this makes the problem of coming from disagreement to an agreement much more difficult when we can't even agree on the definitions of things and what things are. Greetings and salutations, my friend. Whew! I am so glad that a new Tom MacDonald music video just dropped, because last night I had a dream that I caught a virus that was slowly turning me into Jeffrey Marsh, and honestly I think I developed a whole new level of trauma that no most brilliant psychologist could ever dream of. So hopefully this new music video will be my healing process. If not, Tom, I'm going to sue you. So this is not a music reaction channel. I don't really do any song reactions here, but I do talk about politics sometimes, and I did make a pretty long video about Tom MacDonald a couple of months ago. If you want to, you can check it out. It will also pop up at the end screen of this video. Before we get to the reaction part, I want to talk a little bit about my background and how I became a Tom MacDonald fan. If you're not interested in this part at all, there are chapters on the timeline, so just go directly to the reaction. If you're interested and you want to hear, you're welcome. So, oh, how long has it been? 12 years? Shit. 12 years ago, I transitioned from male to female. So, I was living as a trans woman for, well, approximately 3.5 years before I detransitioned, before I found myself in my identity as a male. It still took me a very long time to learn to love myself as a man. That is not something that has happened until, well, in this last year. I had a surgery down there 10 years ago, and because of that I have developed symptoms of depression and trauma, but I have also developed addiction. I was addicted to both antipsychotics and opioids, and when I realized that I have a problem, I knew there was something I had to do about it, so I made sure to quit my drugs. But that escalated my depression, and I found myself in a really deep hole the moment I stopped doing that. The moment when I was basically done with myself is when I stumbled by Tom MacDonald's song Castles. This song changed my life. And then songs like Angels and Withdrawals really helped me through that process. And it was so interesting to hear a song which sounds like it's coming from my head. You know, like I was able to relate to its content in such a way. And for this I want to thank Tom MacDonald. But I also do enjoy his political songs, even though I think some of it can be quite repetitive, but when it comes to beats and lyrics, I do not agree with Tom MacDonald on absolutely everything, and if you want to hear more about that, I will refer one more time to the video on Tom MacDonald I did a couple of months ago. But I think there is a fair overlap between us, to the point where I'm not a raging liberal or leftist who hates Tom MacDonald, but I'm also not someone who's primarily the main part of his audience. I'm not conservative, and I'm not American. Alright, that's enough of the rambling. Now let's listen to this shit.
I'm the one that you hate for making America great, and I'm the one who's trying to build back better. We ain't the same. Yeah, you're right, there's a difference. Y'all are woke and we're awake. What a joke. Does white privilege have something to say? Your president drove the country into the ground. The crime rate is through the roof, there ain't no jobs to be found. Inflation going up, my kids need food in their mouths. You put the fake news on every TV screen in my house. Hold up, your president a racist, homophobic, tried to overthrow democracy and everybody knows it. He will never make America great again like the slogan. He a white supremacist, just like all of you who voted.
Ooh, quite a lot to take in, as is usually the case with Tom. I wish I had the lyrics right before me, because I think it will definitely help me in analysing exactly what he's saying. I have to many times listen to Tom MacDonald's song several times to actually dissect each and every part. But just quick thoughts. So first of all, regarding the video, I absolutely love how he has a blue and red hoodie, and those two characters he's playing are representing the Republican and the Democratic Party. I think the song is sort of like what I expected it to be, but I really appreciate it has a working concept, because a lot of Tom MacDonald's songs are built in such a way that it's just a random statement about something political, and random statements about something political, random statement about something political, random statement about something political, and so on, and then you have the hook. This is definitely has a clear concept in the way the song is written. I think that's brilliant, and I think that the closest song to that from Tom MacDonald's discography, which I think he came to that result, is The System, which definitely is a concept where the whole song is built like arguments on how the system is dividing people, how the system is oppressing people, and so on. Regarding the lyrical content so far, I really liked how he used the presidential campaign slogans Build Back Better, Make America Great Again in those arguments these two individuals are using against each other, and they definitely bring back what the presidents did wrong. I think it's pretty accurate in representing the general political climate of what those arguments against Biden and Trump usually looks like. I think it's kind of spot on.
It's not facts. All you woke morons do is talk trash. Drag queens in classrooms hate anyone who's not black. You're pro-white, you know that's what the Klan members are, right? You're anti-LGBTQ, then why they always on your mind? Bro, you're a boy, you're a girl, stop playing stupid. You screwing up the youth and all the children are our future. You don't care about the kids, look at all the school shootings. You're pro-gun, it's your fault, stop making those excuses.
Ah, interesting. So, in this part, and I will call them Blue Tom and Red Tom, to avoid the confusion, I think both of them made some relatively good points about kids. So, as someone who kind of agrees with Red Tom that LGBTQ went a bit too far regarding influencing minors and kids, but I also think that Blue Tom brings up something very important when he talks about gun violence in America and how it affects schools. And it's not the first time Tom talked about this. He touched on this subject before in American Dreams on his first album, Death Threats. Well, not his first album, but I consider it the first good album. So just to not sound like I'm accusing just one side of something, I will say that at large I have an impression that neither side really cares about kids. They only care about kids when it's convenient for them. People can be very blind as to how their ideology can be harmful for kids, but their eyes become very wide open the moment it's the other side who does that harm, and it's crystal clear at that point. I think this is also part of the reason why a lot of the Christians were the first ones to say that schools are indoctrinating kids to the LGBT or trans ideology and so on. And I think also like part of the reason why Christians were the first one to notice that is because they are doing something very similar themselves, right? Christian ideology has been prevalent in schools for a very, very long time. I grew up in a conservative Christian country before, so I know exactly how that works. It is absolutely all about influencing and brainwashing kids into a certain ideology. It doesn't really matter which side does that. Right, let's keep going.
You're pro-gun, it's your fault, stop making those excuses. You think anyone who don't agree with you is just a bigot. You're a fascist, you're a Nazi. You just mad because you triggered. You're just jealous of the left because we're progressive and we're winning. Now I'm tripping that you won the election because you rigged it.
I get an impression that a lot of what's being said here are not really proper arguments, you know? Like, this is not a logical or intellectual conversation that is going on here. It has sort of resolved to name calling. Like, oh, you this, you that, you woke bastard, you bigot, racist, groomer. You know, and does that really lead us somewhere? It's almost like we have devolved into monkeys, unable to have a proper conversation and dialogue. All we do is just finger pointing and name calling. So far, I think this video is very spot on when it comes to representing just how the political climate and how the political debate has become. We are devolving. Holy shit. Let me guess, now comes the hook.
They put you on the left, they put you on the right. They tell you what to hate, then they tell you who to fight till you're screaming. screaming. They put you on the right, they put you on the left. They tell you who to hate, they do anything to get you screaming. Screaming. My president draining the swamp, we building walls. Your president opened the border for one and all. Now there's murderers and criminals evading the law, walking right into America, our safety is gone. Well, my president ended pandemic, saved the economy, and introduced legislation fighting for our equality. His son smokes crack, I don't care about that honestly. He's raising all our wages, he can't raise his children properly. You obviously pro-life.
Alright, I'm sorry, I just can't stop laughing. I think the part, like, my president is so funny, because it's like listening to first graders or kids in preschool arguing about how awesome their parents are. You know, my dad's a firefighter. Oh, shut up! My dad's a policeman. Well, your mom is fat. Yeah, your mom sucks dicks in hell. Although, you know, the part about abortion was a bit more coherent and sensical. And, you know, I also noticed how both Blue Tom and Red Tom became a little bit more civilized when this conversation happened. And I also think that both the left and the right are making some good arguments there that I like to listen to. Personally, you know, I agree with the right in general that a fetus is still a baby, it is still alive. The moment it has its unique DNA, it's a unique human being. It's no longer just a part of the mother. But I'm also against the authoritarian government telling people how they should live their life and whether someone should or should not have access to abortion. And in the worst case scenario, if abortion is not available, such individual might attempt to do it at home or in some shady clinic. That's why, you know, in general, my take on abortion is the same as when it comes to gun. That shit is already here. We created this problem, we cannot really erase it. We cannot erase the production of weapons, and we cannot erase the fact that abortion exists. We opened that door, and now all we can do is to have a system that is responsible towards it, but doesn't necessarily ban it.
A woman's choice is your right. I feel like abortion is important and you don't like. You're treating it like birth control. You're treating them like your wife. I said that all lives matter and I also meant unborn life. You're so clever, go ahead make your little memes while we're bringing home the soldiers who were in the Middle East. Okay, you brought the soldiers home, but then you burnt the flag and took a knee and left the men who fought for all our freedom homeless on the street. Build back better, there'll be violence and riots until you Bible thumpers learn to fall in line and trust the science. We ain't ever backing down from all you pedos and tyrants. The right is fighting the system, the left designed to divide us. And that is clown talk. All you got is mean tweets. It's free speech. Call the cops. Dog, you defunded the police. This country will be better off without all you freaks. This is America, homie. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Ah. You know, despite how this whole conversation and debate and dialogue may seem like a zoo, I still think that there are individuals on both right and left who are capable of making good arguments, you know. I like to talk to intelligent people. It doesn't really matter to me much whether they're from the left or right, as long as there's something in your head, as long as there's something going on there, you know, as those cogs are moving around, that's cool. I don't really judge people based on their political allegiance or political opinions in general.
They put you on the left, they put you on the right. They tell you what to hate, then they tell you who to fight. Till you're screaming, screaming. They put you on the right, they put you on the left. They tell you who to hate, they do anything to get you screaming, screaming. No press.
Okay. This is something Tom MacDonald has made point about in several of his videos, how this is sort of manufactured, right? Like where they want people to fall either in the box A and box B so they can fight, right? Let's make that happen, so we ignore whoever is controlling it and causing this conflict, and who the fuck is the real problem in the world, right? So, well, it works perfectly for them as long as we are pointing fingers at each other, and sometimes guns even. So, I want to talk about the problem with the concept of argument and how the media and the elites, the people in power, are actually weaponizing that to use it against people. Hold on a second. Hello, it's me, your favorite sensei. Let's start with the argument itself, or you know what? Let's call it a disagreement. So we'll have a D for disagreement right here. Now the disagreement can be both ontological, ethical, or political. Now, there can be many more different types of disagreements out there, of course, but I think a lot of the time most disagreements can be reduced to either of these three. Ontological disagreement about the nature of something, ethical disagreement about the right and wrong, and political disagreement, which a lot of the time is actually a combination of these two. That's when you get the political disagreement right here. So, okay, this in and of itself already creates a pretty low chance that someone will come to an agreement when a disagreement like that happens, right? Especially when you have two sides who stand for something very, very opposing to each other. You're playing on hard difficulty. And when it comes to disagreement, there are only three difficulties. Hard, very hard, and extreme. Like if a disagreement or a video game, there is no easy or normal difficulty there. So, yeah, this is the first level of disagreement. It is disagreement in and of itself. Now let's add the very hard difficulty level. We're creating another circle here. I'm really bad at drawing. This adds the cultural layer. Here we have the culture and language. It's not that unusual that people with a different cultural background or with a different mother tongue would have a certain layer of additional complexity to their argument, because they may define certain terms differently. They may use certain words that another individual is not using. I'm not necessarily saying that, well, let's say if you're from America, you're going to have more of a disagreement with someone from India than with someone from your own home country. I'm not saying this is necessarily always correct, but that such layer of complexity and problem can appear. So, but this is not we're not just talking about foreign languages and foreign cultures, right? Because when it comes to the world of politics, almost any group that subscribes to certain ideology will have their own culture, and a lot of the time their own language as well. Just think about the words, the language that trans community is using, or the red pill community. And I'm not talking about the red pill as in right wing, I'm talking about the male red pill community, MGTOW, incels, all of that. They all both have their own words, their own terms that are not really used outside of those communities. So this makes the whole argument much harder, right? Because sometimes it feels like we are not even. And the same goes for far-right ideologies. It's like you're isolating a certain portion of the language, and your group is using that exclusively. This creates a problem, right? Because now you have different groups of people who are, well, on the surface speaking the same language or belonging to the same culture, but because it no longer seems like we are talking the same language, this makes the problem of coming from disagreement to an agreement much more difficult when we can't even agree on the definitions of things and what things are. Now, if you think this is hard enough, well, let's add the third layer here. This bastard. Those are the fuckers who are controlling the whole thing, you know, the media and so on. How are they monetizing it? Well, first of all, they have to know exactly how this works, right? You know how this works? You know that this already makes it much harder for people to come into an agreement. It creates more conflict in society. And what are you doing? You're amplifying this. You are amplifying this by using algorithms and social media and politics in general, right? Let's make sure that only certain groups of people get recommended videos from YouTube creators, not only on the right, and certain different kind of group only get recommended videos from left-wing media, right? And now, well, both get presented as facts, right? So what happens is like, well, we're speaking facts, yeah? We're speaking facts here. And these guys are also like, no, we're speaking facts. Well, here's some news for you, Sunshine. These are not facts. This is what they're selling you. This is what you need to wake up from. Right, sorry about that. Let's get back to the song.
No president will ever give a damn about the truth. It don't matter who's the winner, cause the people always lose. No president will ever break the system from inside. It's a deep state plan dividing us into sides.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. In the video I did on Tom MacDonald back in March, I said that Tom is someone who appears to be both a conservative as well as someone who is seeing that what is actually going on, how the media is using both sides. And I also called him a hypocrite in the past because, well, how can you be aware of the fact that the media is doing that the elites are doing that they are using people against each other, and yet sort of be on one of these sides? I called Tom a hypocrite for that. But you know what? I no longer really think in this way. Instead of calling him a hypocrite, I'm saying that, well, I think at least Tom is aware of something. I think it is better to be on one of these sides, either left or right, but sort of waking up and realizing what is going on. I think it's better than just blindly following what the media tells you. Still, I mean, he has his some of his conservative opinions that I do not agree with personally, but I respect Tom for his ability to see what is actually going on. I think Tom is someone who's definitely fighting hard to wake up from the Matrix, and that is something I can only respect, irregardless of whether his opinions are liberal, conservative, progressive, or whatever you want to call it, really. And I really like what he said, that no president will break the system from the inside, from within, right? Like the faith we are putting in political representatives and leaders is very blind. Like, it's all bread and circus, and I think especially when it comes to American politics, American election, it has become bread and circus at this point. Or maybe it's always been that, you know? But I'm curious what Tom would think of the idea of not having a president, or just not having a government at all. So I'm really curious what Tom's thoughts on anarchism would be. I'm an anarchist myself, and I never actually heard Tom address anarchism at all. But as an anarchist, I see a certain overlap between what I personally think and what Tom is saying in his songs. Like, a lot of the stuff Tom says is compatible with free market anarchism, and I don't think Tom himself would call himself an anarchist. I know that he doesn't really like labels. I don't really like labels either, but sometimes I think they can be used efficiently to describe something. I don't know, I would really love to have a conversation with Tom one day, both about politics and music and shit in general.
It don't matter if you're left, right, black, white, red, blue, conservative or liberal, rich, poor, me, you, Republican or Democrat, old, young, mean, cool. They promise us our freedom, but then all we get is free doom. They put you on the left, they put you on the right, they tell you what to hate, then they tell you who to fight, till you're screaming, screaming. They put you on the right, they put you on the left, they tell you who to hate, they do anything to get you screaming, screaming.
Right. Oh, so I'm already vibing with this song, to be honest. During the first time the hooks played, I didn't feel it, but on the third time it kind of kicked in. Like usually with a lot of Tom's songs, it takes me a couple of listens to actually like some of his songs. I mean, some of them I like from the start, but I think a lot of his singles are kind of harder to like than his stuff that is on his albums that hasn't been released on Spotify or iTunes. Those are some of his best songs in my opinion. Anyway, I think the video is pretty simple compared to a lot of the previous videos he has done. I mean, God Mode was a very ambitious video for sure. There's a lot of simplicity in this video, but I think it was effective in its simplicity. I don't think it needed more, to be honest. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, and like I said, I don't really do music reactions on this channel, but I'll make an exception for Tom. What I normally do on this channel is just talking about the transition, trans stuff, politics, philosophy, and sometimes doing interviews with some people. If you want to stay here, you're welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, that will help my channel grow. If you do that, you're a bro. Even if you're a woman, you're a bro. So take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.